board of the World Organization Against Torture and as a human rights defender from Egypt, I speak today to share the grave risks we continue to face in my country. Despite Egypt's organization obligations under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the UN Declaration on Human Rights Defenders, our work remains criminalized or otherwise highly restricted. And the human rights defenders live lives and freedom are under constant threat, including their family members. Human rights defenders who document abuses, provide legal aid, or cooperate with international mechanisms are systematically targeted with police harassment and too often arrest too. HRDs face arbitrary detention, travel bans, assets freeze, surveillance, and judicial harassment. Many remain trapped in prolonged pre-trial detention or trials under fabricated charges, which, with their cases kept open for years to restrict their freedom of movement and silence their advocacy. Over the past 5 years, hundreds of individuals, including lawyers, journalists, academics, students, union leaders, political and community activists, and even ordinary citizens were arrested for speaking out on public affairs. The long-standing case 173 of 2011 against NGOs and human rights defenders, used for more than a decade to impose assets freeze, travel bans, and criminal investigations, was formally closed only recently. But other human rights defenders continue to face travel bans, such as colleagues from the Egyptian Initiative for Personal Rights and a member of the Arab Center for the Independence of Judges and Legal Profession. Other human rights defenders are kept on terrorism lists. The climate of repression to freedom of expression and association in Egypt persists, and many defenders, including defenders of economic, social, and environmental rights and climate activists, continue to face prosecution in politically motivated cases brought by state security prosecution, which accuses them of terrorism-related charges and charges of spreading false news, undermining national security, either under Egypt's counterterrorism law of 2015, but also under the cybercrime law of 2018, as well as the penal code. Some 24 journalists in Egypt are currently detained because of their legitimate work or criticism of government policies. Some 54 Sinai Bedouins, indigenous to the lands of the Sinai, who marched in 2023 to regain their lands in North Sinai, were arrested and tried before military court as civilians and convicted before being, in the end, pardoned. The case of Ibrahim Touali, lawyer and co-founder of the Association of the Founders of the Disappeared, is emblematic. He was arrested in 2017 to participate in the meetings of the UN Working Group on Enforced Disappearances, and he remains arbitrarily detained until now and stands trial in 3 cases in front of terrorism court, criminal court in Cairo. Members of the Egyptian Coordination for Rights and Freedoms are serving long-term prison sentences based on false terrorism accusations for defending human rights. Among them, Hoda Abdelmenaim, a former member of the Egypt Human Rights Institution, who served her sentence, but instead of being released, she was accused in a new case. Activist Sharif Ruby was re-arrested 3 years ago.
Je vous prie de conclure. Je suis désolé de vous interrompre, mais nous ne sommes pas sous le point de droit de l'homme. Ça, c'est interaction. S'il vous plaît, soyez succinct.
Was detained again for speaking out on difficulties of insertion. Former prisoners. Economist Abdel Khaled was sentenced to 5 years in prison for criticizing economic policies. Restrictions under the NGO law 149 of 2019 further curtails freedom of association, prohibiting legitimate human rights advocacy. Even developmental and women empowerment organizations who are registered under the law face undue restrictions and government interference, limiting their capacity to deliver their services to communities. Families are also of defenders are also targeted through house raids and arbitrary arrest. Moreover, abroad, human rights defenders in exile have faced transnational repression through attacks by actors acting on behalf of the government, by indicting them in politically motivated trials, or by denying consular services of the issuance of official papers to them or their children. The founder of the Cairo Institute for Human Rights Studies sentenced to long-term prison term while in exile. Too many people today, Mr. President, are arbitrarily detained in Egypt for speaking truth.
Monsieur, vous m'obligez à... Je ne voulais pas. Je suis obligé de vous couper la parole.
Merci.
Je vous en prie.